discuss this video that I was watching. I thought was really good to a point, and I just wanted to add to that. So this video is by Mark Passio from whatonearthishappening.com. So anyway, I just want to discuss some of the concepts in this video and maybe add some things that I see from my perspective to help actually come up with a formula that is actually working. Because in this video, you're going to see this person has some really good ideas and really good experiences about life. Matter of fact, he was explaining in some of the other videos that I saw is that he came from a Satanist background. He was actually a part of the Church of Satan, I think. But anyway, he was into that kind of group. So he knows a lot of the ins and out of things like the Illuminati and these kinds of things. So so he has experience in that, and then he left that, and I think he was changed. I forgot exactly what happened with him, but anyway, he has some very good ideas and very good experiences to a point, and he admittedly in this video says that he's had very few people that really heard his message or really get it deeply. But I want to say I'm getting what he's saying, and it's very true to a point. And basically the idea is he's putting across is how to be free of government, or one's belief in government is what makes a person like as bad as them, basically as bad as what we see happening with a lot of people that are believing in governments and finding out that a lot of what they're actually doing, especially in this lockdown stuff, isn't really working, not working well at all. A lot of things are, very, anyway, it's just not working very well at all. So I want to add a few things that I think that'll make it work, because, and this is the first thing. He said, well, first he says, this name of the video is, Are You Really the Good Guys? Which is like, oh, that's an interesting thing. And I'm going to throw out another title here. And that's also be controversial and kind of difficult to understand, is because he's saying you need to be free of government. Okay. And I'm saying you'll never be free of government. None of us will ever be free of government. Government will always be there and has to be there. Okay. Hey, Don Barbie. So government's always going to be there. And here I'll start explaining some of this. So let's hear some of what he says about this, and it's a great jumping off place for this discussion. So let's hear what he has to say here. I may skip too, so for brevity's sake. Oops. All right. There we go.
I'm here to tell you something that almost certainly no other speaker anywhere is going to tell you. What I have to say to you will not be easy or pleasant for most of you to hear, but it is the truth nonetheless, and it needs to be said and heard. You're all here in Philadelphia protesting the lockdown and the mask mandates for this so-called pandemic. And you believe that taking a stand against such tyrannical government mandates makes you all the good guys. And what I'm here to tell you today is that you just taking a stand against those types of government measures, such as the lockdowns, the mask mandates, does not make you the good guys. So before you immediately tune me out, let me explain what I mean by that statement.
So this is an interesting thing, because this understanding, he says, I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm saying, yeah, he's going to tell us the truth, but some of it, and we're going to add some truth to that also that will actually make this workable for everybody, actually, workable for the government or those who are in the government or outside of the government. And basically, so well, let's go on from there. Let's see how.
I'm just as much against the lockdowns and mask mandates as anyone else here is. In all likelihood, I'm far more against them than anyone else here. The lockdowns and mask mandates, however, aren't the actual problem. They are symptoms of the problem. The actual problem is a matter of what most human beings, unfortunately, still to this day believe in their own mind. And very unfortunately, I must tell you that the vast majority of you here today are still part of that problem because of what you yourselves still believe. You are still driving the negative dynamic in this situation based upon a false belief that you still hold. This belief is that the very concept of authority over others can possibly be morally legitimate. The belief in authority is the belief that some people have more rights than others. It is the belief that some can rightfully command others. It is the belief that some are rightful masters, while others have a moral obligation to obey this master class, who calls themselves government. By any true definition, what this really is slavery, if we are being honest with ourselves. And if we are truly being honest with ourselves, the belief in the moral legitimacy of authority is the belief that slavery is morally legitimate.
All right, now we're getting to the heart of the essence of the truth. What is the truth? Okay, so this person here is a great, interesting concept. He's saying, if you believe in the government's authority, you're actually a slave. I agree with that, more or less. Yeah, more or less, you're actually a slave. Especially different governments have different levels of slavery. You know, there's so that's going to be there. We're the only person that's, yeah. So his point is basically you get rid of all government, and then you'll be free. You know, and or you're able to govern yourselves alone. You don't need any external authority. Okay. So anyway, we're going to let him go a little bit deeper in this concept, and then we're going to add to this to try to make it more clear how to get out of this slavery. You know, more or less slavery way of life here.
This belief is the real virus. And this belief is what has morally infected the overwhelmingly vast majority of the human population, including most of you here today. For the past 15 years, I've been doing nothing else but trying to teach people true morality. The actual, real, definitive, and objective difference between morally right thought and action versus morally wrong thought and action.
Okay. So if you notice in his chart here, so the right thought and action he considers is correct when your thought and action is based on truth. Incorrect is not based in truth. And he's absolutely correct in that, in my understanding also. See? But what is that truth is another thing. The depth of that truth. Because what I found in life, most people have just partial understanding of truth. You know, maybe more or less depths of it, you know, but not the complete truth or very, complete truth. Because if we have the complete truth and then our right and wrong or our actions are based on that, we're going to have a great result. Actually, we're going to have more freedom. And as he's saying, he's been teaching this for 15 years, and not a lot of people are, maybe, a fair amount of listening to him, but how many people are getting him, in the sense, really getting what a person's teaching is making it work in your life. See? Because actually, what you're going to see is what we're going to introduce into this discussion here is working in people's lives.
I'm here to tell you something that almost certainly
is actually working in people's life and getting them the result of this freedom. Okay? So that's really, the essence is, how do you get, okay, oh, brother, let me just, how to get truth to the truth where it actually works in your life and you get the result of freedom. I think everybody's into that. I think whatever side you're on in this world and these controversies here, whatever side you're on, I think everybody wants more freedom, more happiness and freedom. Okay, so what is moral is harmony with natural law. So, and that's true. Natural law, but people usually are looking at the natural law according to the body. Natural law in this world type thing. It's natural law according to our bodies and our minds and our emotions. Natural law in our, well, anyway, that kind of stuff. All right. So actions based in it do not result in harm to others. Aha. So, okay, they're saying if your actions are in natural law, they don't result in harm for others. But his point is, most people can't get rid of the belief in government because they feel there has to be some sort of government, whether it's from a good government or a bad government. There has to be some kind of government, and many people want to be free, but they feel that there is some necessity for some form of government, usually according to what they think. So there's that kind of thing, is that we still need some kind of government. See? But actually, if we go to the depth of truth, then we find out, yes, we need some kind of government, but it's not what people are thinking. Like getting rid of government is the answer, because it's not never, like full on our anarchy is not really the answer. Matter of fact, I've talked to, well, not talked, I've seen anarchists on here. There's one person here, Jeff, I forgot his last name, but he's an anarchist in preaching and everything. But he also says, well, you need to have a spiritual base. It's like, yeah, you can have anarchy if you're spiritually based, and that's getting closer to the truth. The deeper truth, the more complete truth that'll make freedom actually work. Okay, so we're getting there, little gradually here and there. Okay, so thank you guys for coming. Janaki, Cole, Freddie, Johans, and Lalita Madhava, and Doll Barbie, and River. So thank you all for coming. So please hang out here. You're going to find this probably a quite interesting video. Pay full attention if you can to this here.
And based upon what I'm seeing in the world today, I've had little to no success, because most people still believe in the authority of government with religious fervor. Not only...
Okay, there you go. See, after 15 years of trying to get his ideas across, very hard, because they still believe in the religious authority. And there's a reason, or believe in authority religiously. And also religious authority can be thrown in there also. And there's a reason for that, because there's actually a deep truth about this, and this is in the Vaishnava lineage of understanding, is who we are is actually we are naturally a soul body. We actually we are spirit souls. We have we're immortal, eternal persons, but we're having a human experience in a human body. So a lot of people have lost experience of their soul. There's reasons for that also. But it's there, and it just needs to be, that awareness just needs to be awakened. And that's getting closer to where our sovereignty is and our freedom from the external, like too much dependence on external governments, because there still has to be some kind of government going on in our lives. So in this lineage here, what I'm a part of, the Vaishnava lineage, it teaches that our soul has a marginal position. Our soul can go this way or that way. It can go external, see, and then we're in a world, and we're dependent on human beings. We're dependent on external government. We're even dependent on religion. Some people, we're religious principles or principles given by our governments. But actually, if you come to a point and you're analyzing, you look at the material governments we have now, and I think this is part of the awakening now, is we're starting to awaken. And I think even the governors themselves, hopefully, but anyway, people are starting to awaken and realize, hey, wait a second. These governors, the politicians, the medical, the CDCs and the WHOs, they're not getting us the advice that's really working very well. Have you noticed that? There's a big thing about lockdowns are not working very well. That jab is not working very well. People are, there's one lady, she actually died, and then they're covering it up. What is this? Lies and deceit and cheat? It doesn't work very well, does it? This is our governors, our government. There's a lot of this going on. Even people that are in the government, many of them are saying, my God, what's going on? What is it? What's happening here? It's not working very well. But that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Hey, well, it never did work very well. Now you're becoming aware of it. Like in the Bible, they talk about a tribulation, an apocalypse. And basically, that's everything coming to light. It's like Jesus said, by the way, I'm not into the religious aspect of Jesus. I just love what he said. If he really said it, certain things that I can say, well, this is what an enlightened person would say. And he said, a good saying that's we're seeing now, what has been hidden in the closets will be shouted from the rooftops. See? So what's been hidden in the closets? The deep state, right? The deep stuff, the deep state, the Illuminati, right? They work in secret. They're coming out. All kinds of news about these guys. The elite, the 1%. They wanted to stay hidden, but they can't now because it's coming to light. People. So when you come to the point, you realize, well, this kind of government is not working very well, especially now. Look at this tyrannical, draconian influences and tyrannical orders and wanting to turn people into a nanny state. Just do what we say. This is the science. Don't ask any other opinions. Just follow what we say. Do what we say. See? So after a while, people are starting to think like, hey, man, maybe our government isn't the perfect way to be governed. Okay? Or religion. You even come into the religion, you start finding out many religious leaders have also material motivations, like politicians. A lot of the people pushing the jab, they have big investments, right? I mean, you can look it up. Big investments in the jab. In the pharmaceutical. It's just, so there's material motive there. Therefore, they're going to look for their own personal benefit, even above your health, maybe. Okay? They have that in religion too. Same thing going on. Okay? So what I'm saying is we need to get to the deepest, clearest understanding of truth, because I agree with this person, what he's saying. If your actions and thoughts and actions are based on truth, they're going to be great. They're going to be great for you and great for others. They will not cause harm for others, but will cause great good. See? Great illumination, great spiritual realization even. Great material happiness even. Okay, so that's going on. So anyway, let's keep going here. Let's take this deeper and see where it goes.
Is the belief in the moral legitimacy of government a false religion, which is antithetical to true morality. But the belief in authority in general is the textbook definition of a cult. A cult is formed when adherents to a false belief system become physically dangerous to those who did not adhere to its sick beliefs by conducting and condoning violence and coercion against the non-believers.
There you go. So that's one of the problems with governments. You know, they're more or less like that. Some are more like now. Many of our governments, and there's certain reasons for that, that are coming to that level. I'm not a boy. I'm 68 years old, 67 years old. Maybe I am a boy. I feel like a boy in heart. Yeah. See, so we're finding governments. I forgot the point here. Let me look at the point.
The belief in government is the belief that some people have the so-called right to engage in violence and coercion against others who have not initiated aggression against others.
Uh-huh. I'm going to back up a little bit here.
Physically dangerous to those who did not adhere to its sick beliefs by conducting and condoning violence and coercion.
Okay, yes. So this has always been with governments, violence and coercion, because not everybody wants to conform to the government. And so there's always been more or less that kind of thing going on. Coercion and also often trickery, maybe some lies going on here. And so, you know, so anyway, that's why ultimately we see that external government never does work very well. It results in more or less slavery. More or less. Sometimes it's less. Like in America, we experience less slavery than we are experiencing, like less of a slave state than what we are starting to experience now. Now, before there was more free speech, but now if our opinions do not conform with the government or with the CDC or WHO, you know, it's all false news. See, so and only their news is the right news. So anyway, that's a control thing. That is not. That's why many people that are a rebellion that can critically think, they can see at least that far. They say, "Hey, what is this? I'm getting different information, see, from not just mainstream media, and I'm getting it from other sources, and I'm forming a different opinion, and I don't agree with the CDC or, you know." So anyway, this is not appreciated by the governments. And it's funny, it's not appreciated by a government here or in any other parts of the world, actually, because they all seem to have the same idea that they're acting on. And there's another story in itself, because there's a kind of a one world government trying to reset us into a one world government. This has been in the shadows for a very long time, and now it's coming more to the light that that's what's going on. What they actually want to do is to pull it off, to get us to the point of no return, so that we are at the point of no return, and just disguise it in so many different ways, and make it look like random events, that everything that's happening now in the lockdowns and jabs and all this stuff, and you know, and the viruses and all that, they want to make it look at all just a random thing happening. No, it's a well coordinated effort, and the only way you'll understand that is you have to go and get alternative sources of information from our brothers who are also brothers and sisters who are also medical technicians and technologists and doctors and all that. It's not just only one doctor's opinion. You know, they even say you should have a second opinion. Well, they don't want us to have a second opinion, whoever's in control of all this, at this level anyway, is no, just accept what we say and do what we say. And see, that kind of thing, that's more slavery. See, that's bondage. You know, you got to do what your master says, even though you don't agree with them. And if you don't go for it, then we'll use violence, coercion, and force to get you under our control. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of where things are going now. So our freedom, we may have had more or less some free speech before, but that's becoming much less now. Oh, it's almost wiped out, actually. You know, everything is false news except the narrative. I mean, even lies. The lies that are lies, they were trying to make as truths. I mean, you know, there's one lady that died from this thing, and she actually died. And then it's all all the fake news guys, they come up and say it's all fake news. It's all fake news. She's really alive, but nobody has proved it. Nobody has showed her, and they won't, because when you get the other information about she's gone, she's finished. There's even obituary and all that stuff. And they got just see, now they want to make lies as the truth, and then they say everything else is fake news. That is a really twisted thing. That's real slavery, man. When things get to that point, and people are still believing this stuff, and so whatever forces are manifesting, they're trying to really get people to the point where they will accept this seamlessly. You'll just make the transition right into this kind of thing, which is like a communist government, not only for one country like China, but for the whole world. We'll all be like that, and everything will be watching everything we do, and we'll be tracked and traced and all that stuff. So anyway, and I still say we must have some government, because this does not work, this anarchist way, just on itself, on its own, or self-government doesn't just work on its own, because I'm saying that we still need some form of government. But this government that we're going to drive at is really the natural government, and we're all hooked into it. And when we connect with it, then we'll find true freedom. Freedom from slavery. Even if your body is enslaved, you'll still be free. See, because now you're governed by a deeper principle. So government is going to be there, but it's who and how you're being governed. See, that's the question. So we'll get to that more. Let's hear some more of this.
Against the non-believers. The belief in government is the belief that some people have the so-called right to engage in violence and coercion against others who have not initiated aggression against others. The very belief of condoning such an immoral condition makes someone a bad person. Yes, it does. Let me repeat that. The very belief or condoning of such an immoral condition, the slavery of government, makes someone a bad person.
Yeah. And we'll hear what his opinion of that. And it's really true. And and you can be a good person. You could be you could be a good person and have a nice family and be moral and everything. But if you are accepting the orders of those who are motivated and dastardly, and you're just accepting, well, they're my authorities, I just must obey, even though what I'm doing, my actions are coercive and destructive and is a crime against humanity, and I'm just doing it because I'm obeying orders, it does make me it makes me as bad as my master. Of course, because you're actually carrying out the orders of your master, and if they're not right, they're actually against the humanity and morality and all that stuff, you're as bad as your master, just because you're serving that kind of master. And the few that stand up for that, I noticed over during this lockdown stuff, a few peace officers, like police, sheriffs and police, they stand up and say, we're not going to do this. I'm sorry, this is not right. This is against people's rights as in the Constitution. And they stand up for it, and they all end up losing their job. practically all of them has lost their job. If they're just if they're a sheriff or something, then it's different because they're got more control. But many of these policemen that are cops stood up and said, this is not right. I'm not going to enforce this. Boom, you lose their job. Okay? And they do it because, they just don't, it goes against their conscience. So this is the point. If you execute coercion and violence against humanity, and because of the orders that you're given by these motivated politicians in this kind of government that's taking over now or showing its face now, then you're as bad as them. It doesn't matter. You think, well, I'm just following orders. You ever heard this? They're just following orders. Well, sorry, man. That's who you're serving. And you're like them. Okay, so Cole says, the new Disney movie, Soul, is very good. Srila Prabhupada would have smiled and been so happy to see that movie with the message, you're not the body. Now check it out. Perfectly explained. Okay, where are you from? Okay, I'm in Arizona, my friend. All right, let's see here. Oops. Here we go.
Yes, it does. The very belief or condoning of such an immoral condition as believing in the moral legitimacy of authority and government makes someone a bad person. Yep.
Okay, now he's considering all government is bad, and not all governments are that bad. I mean, some are, they are what they are. But some government is needed because we need guidance. We need guidance. Progressive life into understanding that we're spiritual beings and spirit souls means we need less government by external authority. But we need to understand the path of progress to that stage, because otherwise government has to be there. Otherwise the persons inside, if they're not having proper direction, they end up having a worse situation, worse consciousness and behavior and everything. So the universe, because it's happening, it must be ordained. We just have to see where it all fits. Where does government fit, or external government fit? Now we're going to find out, where does internal government fit? And what is that? What is internal government? See, because we have to have some kind of governing principle because of our nature. And so anyway, I learned this in the Vaishnava disciplic line, is our soul is on a marginal position. It needs to be governed. If you're looking out externally in the world, in our human experience in total, then you're fully dependent on the external governments for guidance, and we're finding it falls short. Okay? So people need to be progressive. Okay, where's this going? What is internal government? And we're getting to that. So we're going to get there.
Yes, it does. You see, most people here today want to end the lockdowns because the lockdowns affect them personally. But if actually given the chance, they would have government coerce others in whatever ways they want. If they held its reins, if they held that kind of power in their hands, then it would be a different story.
So you see, he's right. A lot of people say, yeah, well, this government isn't the good one. Let us have this kind of government. See? And it's all, if it's based on some external authority, then it'll have the same problems more or less than the other. Maybe it's a little bit better than the other, but still there'll be problems there. This is his point, or maybe mixed in with my point. You want to superimpose some other external government. See, but I am also saying, yeah, there needs to be some kind of government. And I also have an idea about that. The idea I got was from the Vedas and the Bible, actually, even, is yeah, there needs to be some kind of internal government now. So my point is, and what I learned and discovered experientially and theoretically, Siddhantically or theologically, is we need to be governed by this within. Like Jesus had a wonderful saying, the kingdom of God is within and at hand. See, within. So we need to connect to our source. See? And the better we understand that source and how to connect with it, the less we'll need to be governed externally. We'll just naturally be good persons. Better than that, because that's our source is actually spiritual. We'll be actually spiritual persons, even in this human body. We'll have our humanity, but we'll have our spirituality also. See? And then our dependence on government will be less. And this is the lesson of life. If people will begin to understand this deep conception of what truth is, the more full extent of it, then government will automatically change. There will be no need for it, because all this government here is being controlled by the source, because everything comes from the source. Everything good and bad and spiritual comes from the source. Okay? The bad is here is because of ignorance, because of lack of deep understanding to the extent of what truth is. If we understand the deepest extent of truth, the less external government we will have, just automatically, naturally, spontaneously, without even any effort, we will defeat external government. Even those who are governors will throw in the towel and say, hey, man, we don't need this. This is a much better way to live. This is much better happiness. The whole point is to understand the truth, like in the words of this great philosopher. I rather look at Jesus Christ as a great philosopher and a great prophet. See, where we can really profit. See, the truth will set us free. So the deeper we understand truth, is the more free we'll get. What this person is saying is good, and it's deep. And when you go deeper with it, the more free we'll get, because he's been spending 15 years trying to get people to understand, not to be a slave and everything, but it's, he says most people don't understand what he's talking about. And he's in process also. We all are. But the kind of truth I'm saying is, yeah, if we connect with our internal source, and people call it different names. You got a lot of these people that are fighting this external government technocracy and tyranny that's happening now. They call it the unlimited awareness. See? And that's okay, but it's not. It could go deeper truth, deeper understanding. A deeper understanding. So the more we understand that truth about that we are spiritual beings and that we're connected to source, see, and you have that experience, you're feeling it, man. You're feeling this spiritual relationship. Okay? And you're in that. Then you are governed by that source, because the source is the one created the government. There would be no government in this world if it was not by the sanction of the source, called by many names. If you want to call it Christ or Krishna or Shiva or Chaitanya, different manifestations of the source in this world. Okay? If we're connected to that, if our consciousness is understanding that truth and feeling it also emotionally, transcendentally emotionally, spiritually emotionally, because there are spiritual emotions, then the dependence on external government would be there. You wouldn't even believe in it. It's like, hey, well, come on, that's materially motivated. Look at that. You got motives. You'll see that, because source gives you the understanding that source has. But if we're disconnected from that truth of the source, like in my manifestation, I worship the source as Krishna, Christ, Krishna, that source. Okay? If my understanding is not clear about that, then the government is there, looms there in front of me. But if it is, then all of a sudden my dependence on that is less, because first of all, I won't even believe in it. I'll believe, well, I don't need it anymore because that's only for those who don't have a strong connection with the source. And part of their lesson is to learn that it falls short. It falls short that people, you believe, oh, I believe in, these guys, these politicians or these medical experts, that are actually trying to push this, what's going on now. Oh, I believe in them and everything, but that falls short. And you find out, oh, wow, look at this. I got this. One nurse took this thing and then she got an eye going down like this. Oh, my God. Well, that's what you get for believing in that. So you find out it falls short. Believing in politicians, governing, they're especially now, and everything's falling apart, especially like California and New York. You believe in them and let it go on. You believe in what they say, but they have material motive. Usually that's why everything is falling apart, not working very well. Okay? So I say there'll always be government, and I might just end this here so we don't have to get into it. There'll always be government, and the government needs to be either external or internal. If you are around those who are governed internally by this principle and learn about this, I mean, this is a very deep truth. You ain't going to get it in just one day. But if people come here and just understand if this is beginning to be attractive and you want to become free, of this external governments. Our bodies may be subject to it while we're here, but still our soul will be governed by source and that relationship. It's a relationship, man. It's the understanding that comes from that is very wonderful, very deep, very conclusive, very clear, very logical. Simply by acting in relationship to that source, having that kind of guidance, that kind of government. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a freeing thing. Hey, that's there. It frees us from miseries. It frees us from even all these things that governments are doing. Yeah, like I have a student here. She's in this heavy lockdown type thing, and her boyfriend is kind of having a little trouble with it. But she's like, well, because she's governed, she's made this connection. She's coming to learn about how to connect with the source in a very deep internal way. And then even though these things are going on, she's still happy at heart. See? Because she's governed by a deeper internal principle. So I say, you'll never get rid of some kind of government. It'll either be external or internal. If you want to, otherwise, if you just want to be sovereign in yourself without understanding the true nature of yourself, the real self is eternal. The real self is the spirit soul. It has an eternal relationship with source, known by various different names, but if it's bona fide, you will have an experience that is uncommon to most of mankind at this point. We're trying to make it less uncommon, make it more common. See, reset the world to this relationship of internal government. See, this reset, they want to do a great reset in the world. This is now in the news. It's mainstream. It's nothing, it's coming to light. They want to reset the world so that you have these authorities out there externally and telling you everything to do and make you basically a slave. They want to reset the world like that. Have a currency where you're dependent on your good behavior according to them. You're good if you follow what they say, and you're bad if you go against what they say. They're already conditioning people like this. This is anybody dealing with Facebook knows, well, I'm considered good in the eyes of my authority, Facebook, if I just say what they want me to say, or I don't go against their authority by having a different opinion, then I'm good. See, this is the kind of system they want to instill. They call that a great reset. I call this a great reset. That's a shadow of a great reset. That's a shadow of a new world order. No. This is the light. This is the more truth of it. It's an internal transformation. New world, new great reset. Oh, reset it to this. Reset your consciousness, your understanding on that internal governing principle. You come here or to some person that actually has their relationship with source established. And so anyway, our manifestation is Krishna or Lord Chaitanya or Christ would connect you with that. See? Then that's the whole purpose of having some teacher, external teacher, is to connect you with that. That's what my students, they're connecting with that. And now they're free, more free, and getting more free every day. This stuff works. Why? Because it's based on real truth. This nice person, he's on track. He's saying the right thing, but he hasn't got it to work. But if he comes and learns here, it'll work. Because you got to have some kind of governance. It's not this anarchy thing. You're either governed externally by these authorities and politicians and all of this stuff, wholly and solely, and it doesn't work very well, as people are seeing. Or you can be governed mainly by internal principles, and while the body is here, we have to follow laws and rules and all of that. But it's not like your worshipable deity, these laws. No, you worship your source. So Freddie says every party is sharing one's own truths, but there will always be defects in that. Those who are against the governments want to create so-called better ways of control. Exactly. There'll always be defects. Why? Because it's external. There's always going to be defect. There's no defect in this. And this is how. If it's not an false ego thing. No, there's no defect in this. If I do my job as a teacher, say as a in between teacher, for intermin, like for his time. If I do my job right, and I connect you to that source that I'm connected to, that you're connected to and maybe a little less aware. See, this is not a defect in that. This is perfection. Simply because now you're connected to source, and now that's your governing principle. Is your relationship with that source, either as Christ, as Krishna, or Lord Chaitanya, or some other higher self. It could be. Some people have that conception of source because it is a deeper self, deeper self identity. I'm related to that higher self. I'm related, like the American Indian. I'm related to the Great Spirit, and they get revelations and realizations. They're very good often. Some of these older Indians. Their sayings are really amazing, and they're a product of their relationship with the Great Spirit. Because in all understandings, whatever religion or culture that you're with, it's always got the same quality. It's a great spirit, man, and it's a pure spirit, and that's our source. It's great, it's pure, it's omniscient, and it's full of all kinds of wonderful spiritual qualities. They're very relishable once we're in relationship with that. See, so anyway, that's the main point. To sum it all up, is get in touch with the source, and then you'll be less dependent and have faith in external source. It may be here. I mean, every day we're looking at it in a sense, people you'll see the game, you'll see the motivation and all that stuff simply because you're informed by your internal relationship with something greater, a greater truth. Okay? So I believe this nice gentleman here who is sharing what he's sharing, if he would understand this principle, it would make what he's doing work. More people will hear him. Like here, we have like 10, 20, 30 people that are getting this here. They're really getting more connected to source and less dependent on external, which you could see is always falls short in many ways. So is giving lecture, most still don't understand me. Well, you know, what to do, I'm used to it. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. That's the thing. A lot of people, it's like how many people, you know, especially it's for everybody. It's like this person here. He's got a very deep understanding. The person who made that video that we're watching, very deep and many people don't understand him either, but some do. Same thing here. Many people don't understand what I'm saying, at least right now, but some do. I mean, you guys are coming here every day. Okay, so we'll end here. We've been online for hours and hours and hours. It's probably time to take a walk. So thank you very much. I hope this is beneficial. If you have any comments, please leave it on the Facebook Live. And I want to thank the person who made this video. It was really good, stimulating my understanding, my thinking, and I just want to pay it forward and pay it back, forward and backward, and share some input on it, because this is how we're all going to learn more, is we share ideas and understanding and experiences that we're getting. I mean, that's what I get when I listen to somebody. I say, okay, what a nice contribution. Here, this is a very nice contribution to truth. And we just adding to our input, and people can see what they think. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll be back. I can't wait. I just got to rest the voice a little, exercise a little bit, do some prescribed duties, some yoga, stuff like that. And then we'll be back for more discussion. We're going to get this planet straightened out, man. We're going to make it so everybody can be happy. Whether demons, demigods, whatever, we'll give them try and do our part to manifest the greatest happiness for all beings here. So Freddie says, can you show RV? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I can do that here. Okay, so I'm going to take this thing. Okay. And I got to move. See, I'm in the computer, so I have to kind of carefully move this. Okay, here we go. So here's the RV. Here's my messy bed over there, corner. Okay. And here, this is the other side of it there. This is a little couch here. Oops. Little couch. Okay. There's the table. Oops. Let's see. A little table here. Okay, table there. And there's the kitchen here. There's the kitchen. There's got a little microwave, which I don't usually use. Stove and 2 sinks here. 2 sinks. And then a really nice little bathroom, which I, again, don't use either here. When I travel, maybe more. Maybe. See, I got a little bathroom here. With a tub even. Is that a tub? Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah. So there you go. There's the RV, man. So thank you very much. Have an awesome day, everybody. Oh. So that person has a deeper understanding of what's going on a material level, but not on a spiritual level. Well, I think he's spiritual also, because he understands some of these deeper principles. But yeah, we're just just clarifying things. I mean, anyway, I like the way this guy is he actually talks like me. He actually uses some cuss words sometimes, maybe more than I do. But he's very, fiery, he's a very fiery guy. Yeah, so a good guy. I like him. Yeah. Is it? Yeah, it's bigger than the Toyota, I think. Yeah, because it's all trailer. It's all trailer. There's no engine part. Okay, so we'll end it here. Thank you very much for coming.